So now that I have my basic keyring, smile keyring, I want to add in the face. Now, in Inventor, we used like a slot. Unfortunately, there's no basic shape like that, and I'm still learning how to make more general tools. And that seems like a lot of work. So I'm gonna actually grab the round roof, and I think that's close enough. So I'm gonna take and drag this piece out. Now, I like to move things out away from my shape before I start, because that lets me sort of fix them. Now, if you notice, the orientation of this piece is wrong. So the first thing we need to do is we need to take and rotate him 90 degrees upwards. So if you click on the shape, and I'm going to go to isometric view, you can see we have this angle here. This lets me rotate this on this axis. This lets me rotate this axis. And then this guy, who's hard to see, lets me rotate it on the axis we actually care about. So I'm going to click on this guy here. And now if I move upwards, I can move it more finely. If I move it middle, it's going to move on the 5s. And if I move on the very inner, I can only move it at very specific things, like only 12.5 degrees each time, sort of like clock. So I'm going to go to 90, and that should set me to be the right location, right, or angle. Now, I need to scale this guy down, because if you make him the full size of the smile, he'll be just a little too, he'll take up the whole bottom of the thing. I'm going to make this 0.75. That's going to change to 3/4, but that's fine. I'm going to set this height to be 0.1, and then I want this thing to be up off the bed a little more than 0.1. So I'm going to go 0.125. I need this to stick out slightly from the face, otherwise it meshes weird, and I don't trust it's actually going to cut it out. If I want to cut this deeper, I can always make this taller to compensate. Now, I'm going to look at the top, and I'm going to rotate the top so it's more like the way I want it to be, which is always dizzying. And I'm going to click the top again. There we go. I also need to change this height because it's a little tall. So I'm going to change this from a 1/2 inch to 0.25. 0.25. Maybe I should make this smaller. 0.5. I'm going to locate him. So I'm going to take this width and change this number to be negative half the width. So that's going to be negative 0.25. And I want to bring him down some. I want the whole thing to be down a bit. So I'm going to go negative 0.3 or 0.25, 0.3, negative 0.325. This might look a little weird. I'm going to change the width them to be a little bigger. So I'm going to 0.675. But then this has to be negative 0.675/2. Oh, it doesn't let you do math that way. So I'm going to do 0.66. Make this negative 0.33. That looks generally okay. Maybe it should be a little taller and a little farther down. So I'm going to middle click with the mouse, or I can click the zoom, and that will, whoop. So I'm going to make this a little taller. So I'm going to make it 0.325, and then lower it down negative 0.5. Nope, too much. Negative 0.4. Guess and check is our friend here to get things. Now, this last thing is I want to make this a hole, so it removes the chunk of the mouth. Now, if I export this as an STL file, I can add him back to Prusa Slicer, and we should see that the mouth is now removed. He looks very happy. So that's the smile portion.